Good afternoon. Welcome to Esri Young Scholar Award 2025 briefing section, come hands-on section. My name is Joy. I will give you some background and the criteria of this competition in the first 20 minutes. Then I will pass the time to my colleague Jenny to continue with the hands-on session. Today's session will be recorded and we will upload it to our YouTube channel. Stay tuned. I would like to introduce what's GIS Academy in the beginning. It is an NGO registered in Hong Kong. Through this one-stop platform, we provide free training and also promote geospatial data and GIS to our next generations. There are few programs organized by the GIS Academy. First of all, we have our Map in Learning program launched in 2015. It is co-organized with Hong Kong Education City to provide GIS resources to all primary and secondary schools in Hong Kong and Macau. Then we have our Esri Young Scholar Award. Thirdly, we also organize GIS competitions and co-organize and support with different organizations. Here comes the background of Esri Young Scholar Award. It is an international award launched in 2012. It is organized by Esri, Environmental Systems Research Institute. Each year, nearly 30 winners honored. We give students the opportunity to attend the world's largest spatial technology conference in San Diego in the state. More than 18,000 GIS professionals joined the conference. And it is a great chance to showcase your GIS research at the conference. We also encourage local university students who can create more innovative GIS applications for a smarter Hong Kong. Here you can see the champions and also the StoryMaps application in the recent years. In the photo on the left-hand side, our champion in 2023 shared his poster presentation during the conference, and the audience from Hong Kong came to him to support him. And in the middle, this shows the local presentation and award ceremony, which will be held in July or August each year. This is the flyer of this year's Young Scholar Award. And you can find some important dates and also the registration details and website. Now comes to the objective. For Young Scholar Award, students we will recognize students' explanatory work in geospatial sciences and for students around the world. And we encourage innovative GIS applications to foster the development of smart city in Hong Kong. That means all your applications, the story map you created, must be around smart city in Hong Kong. You may choose to compare different cities, but Hong Kong must be one of the main elements. Here comes the participating requirements. For full version, you can refer to our event website. Full-time students aged 18 to 30, and you must be undergraduate or postgraduate program at local tertiary institute or have obtained the academic qualification during 2025. You must be significantly use Esri technology such as ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Dashboard, etc. to conduct the project or academic research. What to submit to participate? You have to submit an ArcGIS StoryMap in English for presentation with a 2-minute video clip embedded. The video also have to be in English. Since the judging process will be anonymous to ensure a fair assessment for all entries, Please do not put your name, department name, and tertiary institute name in the story map. Please use an alias name if your project is related to your campus. Please also submit a portrait of yourself, because for all winners, we will post your portrait on our website. For the champion who participate in the individual group, will be required to provide an A0 size poster to participate in the map gallery at the user conference. You can also submit your CV if you wish to be considered in internship program in Esri China, Hong Kong. For the judging criteria, 30% goes to the subject and content, and 25% goes to the innovativeness and design methodology. 25% goes to the presentation, which means the ArcGIS StoryMap, including the video. The 20% goes to the application of ArcGIS software. We have two categories. The first one is individual project, and the second is the group project, which will be composed by maximum 6 students per team. If you are interested in both categories, you can submit both the individual and the group project. However, for the story maps, it has to be completely different topics. Here comes the prize and the benefits. Besides the champion, first runner-up and second runner-up in both individual and group application, we also have several special prizes, including the best use of map-sensitive dashboard, best story map design, best introductory video clip, best use of open data, best 3D GIS application, and the best group project for the group category. We will provide prizes and also cash prizes for the group application and individual application. For individual application, we will also provide our ArcGIS for personal use license for 1 year as a prize. For the champion, from the individual application, we will provide a free trip to San Diego, US to attend our education user conference and the Esri user conference, which will be held in the coming July 14th to 18th. We will provide round-trip flight ticket, hotel accommodation, meal allowance, and also the registration. An internship place will be provided at the Esri China, Hong Kong, and also the personal use license. This is a very important slide. This is the timeline for the YSA 2025. So after completing today's briefing and hands-on workshop, the next timeline will be the submission deadline. You have to submit your story map by 16th of March, which is Sunday. You will be required to submit through a survey form. And for the result announcement, we will make it on our website on 11th of April. As I've mentioned before, we have a local presentation and award ceremony, and which will be held maybe in early July or August. These are some photos that have been taken in the previous user conference. In the main picture, it shows the main stage of the plenary section with 18,000 audience joining together to hear the latest update of the GIS development. And in the bottom, it is the map gallery that hosts different maps, and also our champion of the Young Scholar Award has to make his or her presentation there. And these are the winning YSA projects in the recent years. In the last year, the champion chose his topic related to flooding. And in 2023, the champion's topic is about walkability. And 2022, the champion's topic is about accessibility for people using wheelchair. You can also visit the story maps when you have time. If you're looking for more ideas for your story map submission, you can also visit our ArcGIS StoryMaps gallery, which is on our website, for more topics and more references of other story maps. Besides the Esri Young Scholar Award, there are some other competitions out there organized by other organizations, which also make use of geospatial data and open data, which you can get reference to. For example, the CSDI Award, the Open Data Hackathon, and also CIC BEAM competition and IoT Data Hackathon. Some of the competition are not open yet, but some of them are, the deadline already closed, but you can make reference to them. Or you can even use your story map to submit for some competitions out there. And now comes to the Q&A section. If you have any question about Esri Young Scholar Award that you would like to know, or about today's briefing session, you can raise out now. Yes, please.
You mentioned that in 2024, so the champion make a map related to floor.
Flooding,
So,
yeah.
is there any limitation or recommendation for the topic of the story map?
For the topic, it must be related to the smart city development in Hong Kong. It can be any topic, maybe like mobility, accessibility, anything related to Hong Kong. So in your story map, you must have something related to Hong Kong, but not only mentioning another city or another country.
So just focus on Hong Kong.
You can focus on Hong Kong or make comparison, maybe like another city with Hong Kong, but I would recommend you to focus on Hong Kong based on the story map submitted in the past.
But mention that someone make something like law, but is there maybe what I want to say here is that can we make some nature phenomenal like law or weather situation or maybe extreme weather that related to Hong Kong?
Yeah, you can make any topics related to Hong Kong, extreme weather or accident, traffic, black spot, landslide, etc. Everything.
Landslide and maybe something like geology.
Geology is also if in like you can relate it to like smart people or smart city, then we'll be fine.
Maybe something related to city, how the nature phenomena do harm or influence the city.
Yeah, if it is about Hong Kong, then it is fine.
Okay.
Yeah. So sorry, continue.
For the scale of the map, is there any limitation?
No limitation. You can use any scale of the map, and we don't have any restrictions. So, but I suppose if it's about Hong Kong, there must be map about Hong Kong.
And we can only use the ArcGIS or ArcGIS Pro or something provided by the Esri.
Yeah, we welcome you to use. You must use our Esri platform to create your story map, to create your maps and your content, and yeah, we will provide our participants with the Esri account, the login account, but not the one we provided to you today, because the one we provide for you is for today's hands-on session for temporary one-off use. So maybe I can go to the next slide. Yeah, so you, for all participants, you need to scan the QR code to fill in the enrollment form. So once we receive your application in the enrollment form, and we will provide you with the ArcGIS account for you to create your submission for this year YSA 2025.
Well, okay, so can we use some maybe other software or other techniques add them to the something like ArcGIS?
You can use other software, but for the software, like you can write like maybe Python or anything, but not using other GIS software. For GIS, Geographic Information System software, because we are going to organize you will need to use our Esri software.
Oh, Esri software. Okay, so can we use maybe some coding language like Python?
Coding language is fine.
Like something for the remote sensing.
Yeah, something for the remote sensing is fine, as long as like maybe the data you collected or connect or integrated has to be connected with our ArcGIS platform.
Just for the GIS system, we must use the Esri.
Yeah, and also the maps.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. If no question from the floor, I will see if there's any question in Zoom. It seems that there are no more questions from the Zoom platform as well. And now we will take a few minutes, and here is another QR code on the left-hand side of this PowerPoint. Is for today's briefing section, and we would like to get some feedback on this briefing section. And you can also take this time to fill in the enrollment form. And for today's briefing section, presentation slides, and also we will email to all those who register for today's section for your playback. I see another question. Can we submit in Chinese? No, you must submit in English, because we may have some judges who can only read English. So for your story map, it has to be in English, and also for your maps and all the content, including the 2-minute video clip, it also has to be in English. Thank you. For bilingual, you can do so. It's okay to be bilingual. Okay, so here comes to the end of the briefing section. So if you have any question, you can still contact us by email. And now I will pass the time to my colleague Jenny to continue the hands-on session. Thank you.
So thank you, Joy, for introducing the YSA and the details. So now I'm going to give a briefing session in terms of what is GIS, and actually there will be a hands-on session later, which you will get to use the ArcGIS Online and actually get to know how to use, say, ArcGIS Map Viewer, and how to make maps, and how to use the StoryMap, because that's what the product that you will use. So to begin, what is GIS and what can GIS do? So GIS stands for Geographic Information System, and obviously it's related to geographic details. So what can GIS do? So imagine you first start like a project. You actually want to search for like some information or details and to do some data collection. So one of the function that GIS could do is data collection, which for example, you will search for data online, or maybe you could search from say like CSDI portal for Hong Kong data, which I will talk about later. Apart from actually collecting data, after you have that data, or after you have created some data, you will want to manage the data. For example, you would like to find a place to store your data, or you may want to share your data with other people. So that what I just mentioned is a brief summary of what data collection and data management is. So after you have those data that you would need, you may want to, for example, plot the point line polygon on a 2D map. So that involves the mapping process, which I mentioned before. Maybe you want to plot some features on the map. So like the point line polygon that I just mentioned. So this would could help you to visualize your data on the map. So the mapping, the mapping that you could see here actually concerns mainly 2D mapping. So you may wonder, okay, I just mentioned 2D mapping. What about 3D visualization? Or yeah, so apart from 2D mapping, we could also do 3D visualization. So maybe you would ask, if I have 2D maps already, why would I want to use 3D visualization? So one of the reasons why is that 3D visualization actually gives us a more in-depth knowledge and information about the data. So imagine, for example, you have maybe you may want to buy an apartment, for example. Obviously you could know the detail, maybe like where the rooms are and stuff like that from the 2D maps. But for example, if you want to see like the view shed, or maybe you want to see if the view may be blocked by like other buildings, this is hard to do in terms of 3D 2D mapping. That's why you want to have the 3D visualization. And also, you may sometimes maybe you have like some details on the terrain and information like that. So 3D visualization actually help us to gain insight apart from the 2D, like the information we get from 2D mapping. So after doing mapping, obviously maybe you can already have some basic visualization of the data that you collected or you displayed on the map. But if you want to gain insight in terms of, say, how the features are related, or is there any patterns or, say, correlation between the features or the data, that's when the spatial analytics and data science comes in. Because if you just plot the point polygon on the maps, it's hard to see the correlation, or like if there's any relationship between the data. That's why one of the functions that GIS could do is the spatial analytics. So obviously there are other functions that GIS could do, for example, real-time visualization. I think a lot of you have seen the COVID dashboard during COVID time, or there are other dashboard, for example, dashboard that shows the, say like the A&E room like how full the A&E room is, or like the traffic details. So that's one of the reasons why real-time visualization is important, because obviously you could get that data instantly, and you could get the data, like when the data get updated, you could see the data instantly. So that's also one of the function of GIS. And also, obviously, you can use the, for example, satellite image or remote sensing image or drone image. So that concerns the imagery and remote sensing part that GIS could do. And lastly, about field operations. So sometimes maybe you cannot find the data that you need. So maybe you have to actually say manually do the field work. That's why that's when the field operation comes in. So for example, you may use our ArcGIS product, for example, to collect the data during the field work. And at the same time, when you collect the data, those in the office could also see the data instantly. So what I just introduced is briefly about what GIS could do. So just now we mentioned that GIS we could do mapping. So in GIS, on the left hand side you could see an image. So you could see that actually there are several layers shown in the window. So this shows you those layers shows you the information, what information is shown on the map. So one of the GIS function is to do display and mapping. And obviously, you can zoom out, zoom in, zoom out, and navigate the maps around, which I will demonstrate later. And on the right-hand side, you could see the image which shows a pop-up window and the table, which we refer to the attribute table. So by referring to the attribute table and the pop-up window, you can actually display and identify the attribute data behind the map. Because imagine if you don't look at the attribute table and the pop-up window, maybe all you could see will be just 0.9 polygon, and you do not know the details behind the data. That's why it's important to refer to the attribute table and the pop-up window. And just now I mentioned that you could plot the 0.9 polygon on map, and you can actually use different symbols and style to customize how you would want the map data to be displayed. So, for example, you can change the size or the color or the symbol of the 0.9 polygon. So of course, you could display data on using GIS, and GIS also allow us to create, edit, and delete geometry. So the first image on the top, at the top, you could see that you could edit by, for example, dragging the verticals to edit the polygon, and you could also cut the polygons or the separate or merge polygons. So just now I mentioned that spatial analysis is one of the function of GIS. So why would we want to do that is to quantify the patterns and relationship in the data displayed, which allow us to gain insight of the data. And the result could be displayed as maps, tables, and charts. So this help us to for example, when we have, say, like a research question, we can spatial analysis could help us to answer that research question, and we could help us to make decision instead of just say doing a visual analysis. And there are a variety of spatial analysis function that you could use. For example, calculating density, interpolate points, or for example, creating buffers, which we would do in a hands-on session. So yeah, this just gives you a brief sense of idea in terms of what spatial analysis is and what you could do with spatial analysis. So I think you all would mainly use GIS Online. So I will introduce what is GIS Online. So imagine ArcGIS Online is like something like Google Drive. Obviously, there are more functions to ArcGIS Online, but just a brief concept is like Google Drive. So you could upload the data to ArcGIS Online, and you could share the data to ArcGIS Online. So these two are actually like a cloud, so you could upload and share data. And of course, you can also create maps and scenes, so 2D maps and 3D scenes. You could do that on ArcGIS Online, or for example, if you created maps and scenes for example, on ArcGIS Pro, you could also share those data to ArcGIS Online. And yeah, I just mentioned that in a map, it would involve some multiple layers of, say, raster and vector data. And actually, ArcGIS Online could also store those layers as well. And that after that, you may sometimes want to do spatial analysis. So ArcGIS Online could also allow us to do analytics. For example, you could run buffer analysis or overlay analysis, for example, on ArcMap Viewer. So that's also one of the function of ArcGIS Online. And lastly, there are different apps that you could use. For this hands-on session, we are going to use StoryMaps and Survey 123. So of course, there are other other application apps that you could use, but StoryMaps and Survey 123 will be the main apps that we will use for this hands-on session, for today's hands-on session. And you could explore more about the apps on your by yourself if you have time. So I'm going to introduce to you the process in terms of the GIS process. So as you could see from this diagram, it involves 4 steps. So search for data, visualization, analysis, and share for result. And these 4 steps could actually be repeated. So let me give you a more real life example on how these 4 steps actually how this 4 step actually works. So imagine after today's hands-on session, you would hang out with your friends and you're trying to find a restaurant. So you're trying to find a place to meet your friends. So the first step, maybe you would want to say search for restaurants on Google Maps or maybe OpenRise or whatever platform that you use. So this is the first step, which we will search for the data and collect our data. And then second step, maybe, you find a list of restaurants that you want to go, or maybe then you would plot this point features to a map. Then this will be the second step, which is the visualization. And then you would do the analysis. For example, now you're in Lychee Kok, and then you want to find, say, restaurant that is within, say, like 10 minutes walking distance. So then you could actually run a buffer analysis to find those restaurants that is within the 10 minutes walking distance, and then you share the result to your friends, either through WhatsApp, WeChat, whatever platform you use. And then I just mentioned that these 4 steps could be repeated. Why would I say so? So imagine you find a list of restaurants consists of, say, Chinese restaurant, Japanese restaurant, and Western restaurant. And then maybe today, I only want to have Japanese cuisine. Then your list of restaurants is gonna, so the number of restaurants that you will look at will, the number of restaurants will decrease, right? And then you will have to rerun these 4 process to search for the Japanese restaurant, and then you plot the restaurants on the map, and then you again run the buffer analysis and share the result to your friends. So this is just a brief introduction of how this process actually works. Yeah. So for today's hands-on session, this will concerns the evaluation of flooding capacities and stormwater facilities in Hong Kong. So the background of this hands-on session is that Hong Kong is located at the southern east coast of China and has a subtropical climate. The rainy seasons is normally between April and September. So during these rainy seasons, you could see, say, because of the rainy weather, it may cause traffic disruption, flooding, and landslide. So it's important to reduce the casualties and provide a safe environment for the citizens. So that's why a flood-free city is important. So this hands-on session, and imagine yourself as an urban planner, and you would evaluate the flooding capacities and the stormwater facilities in Hong Kong, and you will use the GIS technology to aid you with the planning. So remember the last slide, I showed the 4 steps of the GIS approach. So do you remember what is the first step? to search for data, right? To collect data. So could anyone tell me what sort of data that you may want to collect or is necessary for this evaluation? Anyone? So obviously, maybe you would want to see if there any flood-prone area or flooding black spots. So do you remember last year? So Wan Tai Shin, the area near Wan Tai Shin experienced a lot of flooding. So remember that? So maybe you want to look at the flood-prone area or the flooding black spots that already existed, or maybe you want to see the altitude of the area, and if the surrounding has some say residential buildings, and is there any already existing facilities for example, is there any facilities by the drainage services department nearby that could help us to create a flood-free city, yeah, and then also the electricity consumption maybe. So yeah, this may be the data that you may want to acquire. So talking about collecting necessary data, these are some data sources that you could look at to search for your data, and I'm going to introduce them to you now. So the first one would be the CSDI portal. So this is the CSDI portal website. So yeah, you could actually, for example, search by the data set categories. So if you're looking at, for example, flooding, maybe you want to see, say, the precipitation or the rainfall data. So maybe you could look at, say, the climate and weather category and search if there's any data that you may want. So let's say if this is the data that I need, let's say this is the data that I'm looking for, you could actually download the data. For example, you could download the file geodatabase, FGDB, shapefile, KML, CSV, GeoJSON, GeoPackage that you need. Or you could use, if you know how to use the API geospatial service, you could also use this. And you could preview the data. And then you could also look at the specification of the data. Of course, you could just type words that, for example, rainfall, and then you search for the data to see if there's any data you may want. Yeah, this is CSDI portal. So most of the Hong Kong data, I think you could use CSDI portal to search for your data. You could also use ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Living Analysis, but I think this maybe more US related data will be available if you use ArcGIS Online or Living Analysis, but you could also have a search. So yeah, you could, if you search for the data you need in, say, yeah, this is India district rainfall, but imagine this is the data that you look for and you would not want to use. You could open the data in MapViewer Classic, SimViewer, ArcMap, or ArcGIS Pro, and you could say search for the base maps, search by base map, or imagery, boundaries, by people, infrastructure, and environment. Yeah. So you could also look at ArcGIS Online and ArcGIS Living Analysis. And this opens geospatial data in Hong Kong. This is for the convenience of our Esri users. Most of the data available on CSDI portal should be you should be able to find the data as well in open geospatial data in Hong Kong. So it's similar. You could search by data categories or search for data just by typing the words, the keywords. So yeah, you could use the data in the map, story maps, or open in ArcGIS Online, etc., and download the data if it's available for downloading. Yeah. And data mapservice.gov.hk, you could also see if you have any spatial data or topographic map that is available or maybe suitable for your needs. And lastly, data.gov.hk. Yeah, you could search for the keywords here and imagine if this is the one that the data that you would like to use. Again, you could download different format of data that you want and description of the data, etc., etc. So just now I introduced different data sources that you could search for the data and to collect your data. And if you cannot find the data that you need, you could also gather your own data with Survey 123, which we will use later in a hands-on session. So just a little bit more about CSDI portal. There are already more than 870 spatial datasets made public by more than 65 government departments, and there are 18 categories of data, for example, drainage, sewage, or census dataset, road network, COVID-related data, and etc. So yeah, you could make good use of the CSDI portal and to collect your data. So now we are moving on to use the ArcGIS Online. So yeah, so everyone please go to ArcGIS Online, and I could hang on a second. You could search for ArcGIS Online using your whatever browser that you use. Or you could type arcgis.com/index.html. After you go to ArcGIS Online website, you could go to the right-hand side and click the sign in icon. You can tap sign in, and then you should have your ArcGIS Online credentials, the username and password. You should already have them. So please log in to ArcGIS Online account. After you successfully log into your account, the interface should look something like this. I will give all of you some time to log into ArcGIS Online. So has everyone signed into their ArcGIS Online account? If you have any questions, you could type in the chat box. So if there's no further question, then we will start. Before we will start, I would like all of you to download some data first. So after you have logged into ArcGIS Online, the interface should look like this. So I would like you to go to the search icon and then search for Esri YSA briefing underscore 2025-01-09. I would type it in the notepad. So just bear with me for some time. So after you click the search icon and then you type Esri YSA briefing underscore 2025-01-09, you could press the enter button and then turn off the only search in map in learning program by Esri China. So search icon and you type what is shown in the notepad, and then you you toggle off only search in map in learning program by Esri China, Hong Kong. Okay, I will demonstrate again. This is the initial interface that you should see. You go to the search icon and then type Esri YSA briefing underscore 2025-01-09, and then you press the enter button. And then remember on your left hand side, there's a filter, toggle off only search in map in learning program by Esri China, Hong Kong. Then you should be able to see the document link. So if you have successfully followed what I have demonstrated just now, you could click the open button. This should direct you to a OneDrive link. So you could then download the file to the device, to your device. This should be a zip file, and then you right click extract all to extract the files. So in this zip file, it should include the notepad document that we will use later for creating the story maps. This is just for your convenience, so you don't need to type a lot of words. You could just manually copy and paste. That's just for your convenience, okay? And the PDF, yeah. So if there are some steps or some things that you could not follow, no worries, don't worry. You could refer to the PDF for your further reference later. And this is just the last file should be just a JPEG for making the story maps later. So I will give you all some time to download the files and yeah. Again, if you have any question, you could let us know in the chat box. So anyone have any questions? If no, then we will proceed to the ArcGIS Online hands-on session. So now I would like you to click on the map button. So this should direct you to the map viewer that we will use for making 2D maps. So we're moving on to the second step of the GIS approach. We would do the visualization, and the first step, the spatial analysis. So that's we will be working on this now. So after you click the map button, and this is the map viewer. So at the beginning, maybe you're not familiar with what these buttons are. So you could go to the bottom left and bottom right hand side. You could see the expand and collapse button. You could expand, click expand. So now you would know more about what each button is. So now I would like you to add your first layer first, and then we will talk about the map viewer interface after you add your first layer. So you could go to your left hand side, add, and then browse layer. So add and then browse layers, and then you change from my content to living annex. And then we will search for the Hong Kong 18th district layer. The first layer will be the layer that you add to the map. So you could click add. So again, left hand side, add, and then browse layers, and then you change from my content to living annex, and then you type Hong Kong 18th district, and then add the Hong Kong 18th district layer to your map. If you successfully add the layer, it should look like this. So any questions to this step? Okay, so if no questions, we'll continue. So now we have added our first layer and the 18th district layer, and now I'm going to talk about the map viewer interface. So just now, you know that from the add button, you could browse for layers, and then you could also add layer from URL or add layer from file, etc. So this button allows you to add layers, okay? And then if you click on the layers button, you will see the Hong Kong 18th district layer show. These shows the shows what layers are actually in this map. So currently there are only one layers, and we will add more layers later. And so what is this icon that looks like an eye? This is the visibility icon. So if I click it once, and there will be a stroke, and then you could see that the layer is not visible on the map. So you could toggle on and off for the layer visibility. And then to your right hand side, you could see the options layer, options button. So imagine if I zoom out to somewhere else, you could zoom to the layer by clicking the zoom to button. And if you remember, I introduced the term attribute table. So where could you see the attribute table? You could click the show table button. Then you could see the attributes of the data, okay? Or you could also select data and then zoom to selection if necessary. This is just for demonstration. And clear selection. So I'm now going to close the attribute table. And the table button here is after you configure the chart, then the table will show here, but now we haven't configured any chart yet, so we don't see any tables. And the base map button, you could change the base map if necessary, and there are a bunch of base map that you could select, for example, street base map, imagery base map, etc. So you could use the base map button to configure your base map. The chart, so the chart you made will be could be seen here, but we haven't made any chart yet. We will talk about it more later. So legend. So imagine if you don't see the legend, don't click the legend tab. Based on your knowledge, maybe you will know what these colors refer to because you have a basic knowledge of what the 18th district of Hong Kong. But sometimes you may want to know, okay, what the points feature actually are, like what polygon features they're actually referring to. So you could go to the legend button, then you could see the details of the data. Okay, bookmarks, what is this? So imagine I want to focus on a certain part. Let's say I want to focus on here. You could add a bookmark, give it a name. For example, then maybe I go somewhere else. Oh, say I go somewhere else and I want to go back to the area I just bookmarked. Then you could make good use of the bookmark function. Okay, now I'm gonna delete this. And the save and open button, after you make your map, remember to save your save the map. Okay, remember to save. So this is where you could save your maps and open maps, etc. Okay, so yeah, you have a brief idea of what is on the left-hand side, which is the content toolbar. Left-hand side, this is the content toolbar, which is to manage and view the key components of the map. So now we could go to the map view here in the middle. So in the middle, first you will see like a magnify glasses or search icon. Then you could search, for example, I search for Kowloon. Then yeah, you could make good use of the search button. We could talk about the default map view. So imagine, so if I zoom in and zoom out, I want to go back to the default map view. You could click the default map view button, and obviously you could zoom in and zoom out. You could zoom in by clicking the icon that look like a plus icon, and then minus to zoom in, zoom out. And you could also use the scroll wheel on your mouse to zoom in and zoom out. Okay, so this is the yeah, and then on the right hand side, that is the setting toolbar, which is to you could work with the individual layers in the map and the options for working with the map itself. So you do have to follow me for this step. We will work on this later. This is just to show you the interface of the map viewer. So if I want to configure the style of the 18th district, you could see that, oh, actually I could pick different style and choose attributes, etc. And I could do like a data filter, okay? The effects, aggregation, and pop up. So I would like to, if you remember, I introduced the term attribute table, and there's like a pop-up window. That's a window. This is the pop-up window. So you could click the polygon and also see the attribute of the data. So this is the pop-up window. you could use the pop-ups button to configure the pop-up window. Yeah, and then the fields, you could look at the what the fields that are included in the layer or the yeah. So and labels you could so if you just look at the map now, maybe you will want to make labels to label the 18 districts. So this is where you could do the features labeling. And the configured charts, you could make charts for example, you could make like pie charts, bar chart, line chart, etc. And the analysis tab will be this will be where you go to if you do spatial analysis and want to run different tools. If you're not familiar with the tools, you could, for example, put your cursor, and you could it will tell you more details about the tools if you are not familiar with the tools. And if you go to the right hand side, after you have run the tools, this the icon that looks like a clock, the history icon, the history button, it should shows you the history of your analysis that you run. Okay, and yeah, so just a brief introduction of the map viewer interface. So now we will add another layer to the map. So again, you go to the add button and then browse. And then you go to living annals, and this time you search for drainage facilities. And then you add the first layer that you see from the results. So the facilities under the DSD in Hong Kong. So after you successfully add the DSD facilities layer, we will do some, we will change the display style to have a better visualization of the data. So you go to the layers button and then make sure that the facilities under the DSD in Hong Kong is selected. To, if you select the layer, you could see like a blue line next to the layer. So this means that the layer is selected. And then you go to the right hand side and click the styles button. So if you look at the pop-up window, then you could see the details of the data. And this time we would like to go to the choose attribute and then click select fields and then nature and then add, because we would like to make the label to change the style based on the nature of the DSD facilities. So after that, you go to the style options, and then you could change the color ramp. So go to the symbol style, and then there's a pen, the edit button. Then you could change the color ramp. Go to colors and change to Mother Earth. Or actually, any color ramp that you like, doesn't really matter. Just to show you how to change the color. And then you change the size. After that, we are done for changing the style. So I will demonstrate again. So first, make sure that facilities under the DSD Service Department in Hong Kong is selected. So there's a blue line. This means that the layer is selected. Go to Style, and then click Add Field. Make sure you click Nature. Okay, after that, you go to Style Options, and then go to Symbol Style. That's a pen icon, the edit edit button. Then you scroll down a little bit, you could see the color section. Then you could change the color ramp. For my demo, I chose the color ramp Mother Earth, but you could, you could follow me or choose color ramp you like, doesn't really matter. And then you change the size to 6 px. After that, click done. Then you are done for configuring the style of the DSD facilities layer. So you could now see that now the style of the layer is different, and the color is based on the nature of the DSD surface. So you could see that there are different DSD facilities. So we would like to focus on only one of the facilities nature, which is SPS, because why we would like to do data filtering is that sometimes there are a lot of data, and then we want to only focus on a specific set of data, or like data that only meets our criteria. So that's why we would like to do data filtering. So now we would like to filter our data. You could go to filter button on your right, and then add new. So now you could set the condition. So I just mentioned that I would like to filter the data based on the nature. Those I only want to see the only the SPS facilities. So nature is SPS. Then you could click save. So you will see that now only the SPS facilities are shown on the map. So yeah, the maps now only shows the stormwater pumping station, the SPS facilities. So if we look at the point features now, we know that these are the SPS facilities, but I would like to add some labels to the map, to the point features to indicate the building name of each SPS facilities. So we will go to our right-hand side again, and then go to the labels button. Make sure enable button is toggle on, which means that it's blue in color. Toggle on. It should be toggled on by default, but just to make sure it's toggled on, make sure it's blue in color. So go to labels, make sure labels is enabled. You have clicked the enable labels button is toggled on, and then you could click add label class, and then we will change the label field to building name. So now you know how to label the features. After you label your features, then we could move on to the next step. So if you, I just show you how to look at the pop-up window now, but you could also take a look at the pop-up window again. So you could just click one of the, sorry, you should click the point features, because we are now configuring the, so you could, instead of clicking on the polygon, do not click on the polygon. You could click on any of the point features to look at the, so the SPS facilities, you could click on the SPS facilities point feature to look at the pop-up window. So yeah, you could see that we have the address, the building name, the district, the longitude, latitude, nature, and region. So so based on the pop-up window, I think that we do not need to show the latitude and longitude, which is a bit unnecessary to show the longitude and latitude. So we could configure our pop-up window. So you could go to the pop-ups button, and then you go to fields list, and then you just cross out latitude and longitude. So you could see that after you delete the longitude and latitude, then the pop-up window is automatically updated. This is how we configure our pop-up window. So any questions to this step? Any questions or any step that you would want me to repeat? If no, then we will go ahead and save the map. So go to your left-hand side, click the Save and Open button, and then click Save As. We're going to save the map for now. So one thing to notice when you save your map is that try not to use any special character, meaning that try not to use any like star sign or hashtag sign like that. Otherwise, you may have issue saving the map. So try to avoid using special character. So for the title of the map, do not follow me. Like do not name your title exactly like what I'm doing. Otherwise, because it won't allow you to save if the title name is the same. So change it to your initial. So do not type KWU like I do. Otherwise, if you make the title exactly the same as what I'm showing, then you cannot save the map because the names are exactly the same. So change it to your own initial. Do not use any special character like star sign, hashtag sign. And then you can put today's date. And then that's for the title. You could also add the tag and the summary. Actually, for your convenience, if you have already downloaded the PDF, you could just copy and paste the word from PDF. Then you don't need to type so many words, just for your convenience. After you give the map a title and add the tag and summary, then you could save your map. After you save your map, then we will move on to doing analysis on map viewer. I will give all of you a little bit of time to save your map. And just for your reference, we are now on page 21 of the PDF for your reference. We just saved our map. Anyone and any questions till now? If no, then we'll move on to doing analysis. So before we do the analysis, sorry, you have to add some layers again. So go to your left-hand side and then browse layers. I think you all know how to do this. Then you search for Hong Kong flooding black spot. You change from my content to ArcGIS Online. Then you search for Hong Kong flooding black spots. And then you add there should be only one layer that's shown. You could add the layer. If you have successfully added the layer, then you could go to the layers tab. For easier visualization, please turn off the DSD facilities and the 18th district layer just for easier visualization so then you can see the features easier. Okay, so if you have at any questions to here? Okay, so if you have add browsers and then you add the go to ArcGIS Online and then you search for Hong Kong floating black spot, right? That's what I've shown. So that's what we have done. And then you click add, right? So after that, you turn off this to the visibility of the DSD facilities and the Hong Kong 18th district layer for easier visualization. Okay. Then we will do our first analysis. We could go to the right hand side, click analysis. Maybe yours is like this. Yeah, analysis should be like this. Then you go to tools, and then you go to use proximity. So analysis, tools, use proximity. Then use click create buffers. Okay. So what we would do is that we would like to create a 2 kilometers buffer near the floating black spot. Okay, so analysis, tools, use proximity, create buffers. Okay, then you click create buffers. So for the input feature, you go to input layer and then we choose the floating black spot layer, Hong Kong floating black spot layer. Okay. Then you enter the distance value 2 because we are trying to create a 2 km buffer. So create buffer 2, you select the Hong Kong floating black spot feature, which should only be 4 features. Then you enter 2 to the distance value. Make sure the unit is kilometers. Overlap policy is overlap, should be the default value. And then you give the output name, which is floating black spot buffer, your name, and then today's date. Again, remember, do not use any special characters and use your initial and today's date to avoid the layer name being the same. If you have entered all the parameters that I've just mentioned, you could click the run button. Then give it some time for the 2 to run. So again, you could go to the right hand side to see the history of the 2. And if the 2s are successfully run, then you could see there's like a window. And then on the left hand side, there should be a new layer generated. You can see there's a new layer after the 2 has successfully run. So we have just created a 2 kilometers buffer around the floating black spots. Any questions to this step? If no, then we will move on to run the next analysis. So you could turn on all the visibilities of all the layers now. And then you go to the tools again, analysis, and then, yeah, home and then tools. Sorry, or just the back button if you see the still see the create buffers tool, then just click the back button for you to select another tool that we will use. So we will use the summarize data. We'll go to the summarize data. So summarize data, and then we click the summarize within two. Okay, summarize data, and then summarize within two. Okay. This time we will choose the facilities under the DSD services department in Hong Kong. So check if the count of the features is actually 258. If not, then you have done the filter. You haven't done the filter correctly. So check if the count of features is 258. If not, check your filter. You may have filtered your data wrongly, okay? So then we would so just now we have created the floating black spot buffer layer. So now we choose the floating black spot buffer layer that we have created just now, newly created. So what we are trying to do is actually we created buffer, right? We want to see how many facilities are there in the buffer that we have previously created. So again, input feature facilities under DSD in Hong Kong, and the number of features to be 258. If this is not the number you see, you need to check if you are selecting the correct layer, or if you have done the filter correctly. Okay. Yeah. Again, and then choose the floating black spot buffer layer as the summary polygon layer, and then give it a result name. And then you could click run. So after if you have successfully run the analysis, please check the attribute table first before we configure the chart. So please check if you have the same number of kinds of points as me, as I do here. If not, then you have run the analysis wrongly. So check if you get the same result as me. So if yes, then we could continue to our next step. We will configure the chart. So you could go to the configure chart button, configure chart on your right hand side, configure chart, and then click add chart. Then we will select bar chart, the first option, bar chart. For category, we will select district. District as a category, and then congestion. Oh, sorry, I have selected the wrong layer. Sorry. Yeah, you should sorry, my bad. I will repeat the step again. So first, make sure you are selecting the facilities under the drainage services department in Hong Kong. My bad, sorry. So first, make sure you are selecting these layer, the facilities under the DSD department in Hong Kong. Then go to configure chart, the same as what we did. Configure chart, bar chart, and then district as the category, and then count. Then this will be the chart we are making. So again, make sure you select the facilities under the DSD in Hong Kong, and then go to configure chart, bar chart, district as a category, count as an aggregation. So you could see the DSD facilities by the district. So this is what we are trying to do. And then after that, we will make our second chart. So this time we select a different layer, the facilities near flooding black spots. So the new layer you created after the analysis just now. So it should be the first layer if the order of the layer is the same as me. Should be the first layer, okay? Then again, configure chart. If you do not see the configure chart, maybe it's because of your screen. So go to more configure chart, okay? If in case you do not see the configure chart button, okay? So after you have clicked the configure chart, you add another chart. Again, this time we would select bar chart and district as a category, sum as the aggregation. And then for the numeric fields kind of point. Okay, for some reason it keeps loading. But this, yeah. you could refer to the PDF. Sorry, it keeps loading. So it keeps loading, but you could refer to page 27 of the PDF. So the chart should look something like this. The diagram here. If the if the chart doesn't look like this, then you may have selected the wrong layer, or actually you have the analysis that you run previously is not correct. So check if you have selected the right layer, and if just now I asked you to check the attribute table, right? Just now I asked you to check the attribute table, the kinds of points. Keeps loading. Okay, anyways, I can't show you, sorry. But yeah, check the attribute table of this layer, of the facilities under flooding black spot underscore your name underscore dates layer. Okay. So we go to save our map. Go to save and open, and then save your map first. And we could take a break where we will come back at 4 p.m. Then yeah, we will work on survey 1 to 3, and then some more something more to do with the map viewer, and then lastly we will make our story maps. In the meantime, let me show the chart again, because I wasn't able to show the chart just now. So this should be the charts that you have generated before break time. So what I was talking about is that you should, if you get a different result than me, you should check the analysis that you run, if you have run it correctly. And yeah, I told you to check the kinds of points of the facilities near flooding black spot layer previously. So make sure you get the same number of kinds of points as I do. Otherwise, your chart will look different. So you could check the chart on the left-hand side, the chart button. So this should how the chart should look like. Just to pick up where we stopped before break. I wasn't able to show the chart just now. Okay, so now we will move on to, yeah, remember to save your map. And then we will move on to the next part to work with the survey 1, 2, 3. So we're currently on page 28. of your PDF for your reference. So to go to survey 123, you go to, this is an icon with like 9 dots. So you click it and then you scroll down a little bit. Survey 123. So you click it. So we will now I will now show you how to use Survey 123 to make surveys. So this is the interface of Survey 123. So we'll make a new survey. So go to click Add New Survey, and then blank survey. So give it some time to load. So first we will give the survey a name. So go to Untitled Survey and then give the survey a name. So shelter locations underscore your name and then date. After that, we can go to give the survey title. Go to a survey title not set, and then give it, and then type shelter location survey. So you click survey title not set, and then on the right hand side you see the edit section, right? So then you type shelter location survey. So what we did is just to rename the survey. Okay, so any questions to here? If not, then we will continue. So you go to the left hand side, the add button, and then you scroll to the bottom. Then you could see survey elements. Then you could toggle off survey description and survey footer. Then you could save the survey for now. Afterwards, we will add some survey questions to the survey. Okay, then now we will start adding survey question. Scroll back to the top. Go to test number, days, and time. You drag the single line test, just drag it, okay? Then give the question label. So name of the shelter, you could refer to the PDF. And then so after you have entered the label, name of the shelter, you go to validation and make sure this is a required question. So this is the first question we add, a single line test question. So drag the single line question, drag it, and then give it a label, name of the shelter, and then just make sure the validation, this is a required question. So there should be a star after you check the validation. So this means that the user needs to answer the question. Otherwise, they could not submit the survey. Moving on, we will add a second question. So which is the dates and time? So the same session test number, dates and time. Then you drag dates and time. Just drag it under the first question. Then you again give the survey the question a label. So dates and time, just dates and time. And then select submitting date and time as the default value. And then again, make sure it's a required question. So drag the date and time, drag the date and time question, give it a label, select the default value as submitting date and time, and then scroll down a little bit, make sure this is a required question. So this is our second question. We will add the last question and then be done with the survey. So after we have successfully added the date and time question, we'll move on to add the last question, which is a map question. Okay. So we will add the last question. So you scroll down a little bit, scroll down to location, and then you drag the map question underneath. Add, scroll down a bit, location. Then you drag map question to the survey. Okay. Then you again give it the name. So location. So after you give it a label, location, you scroll down a bit. So you drag the map question, location, and then you scroll down a bit to map and extend, and then you type Hong Kong. And then enter, you will zoom to Hong Kong. So again, drag the map question. After that, give a label, location. You don't have to change the drawing tools. It should be default as the point. And then you go to map and extend, type Hong Kong, then enter. It should automatically be zoomed into Hong Kong. And then you go scroll down a little bit, go to default location, center of the map extend specified above, center map extend specified above, and then make sure it's a required question. You could save your map. Okay, so for now, this is only a draft. Please note that this is only a draft. You need to publish the survey so then other people can enter the response. Otherwise, you cannot enter response. So go to save the map and save the survey, and then publish. Give it some time to publish. So while we are waiting for the survey to publish, there's something I want to talk about, which is about the sharing level. Okay, we'll talk about it later. Okay, so we successfully published the survey. So now you can see that now you're able to look at the survey link and or use the QR code. So for demonstration purpose, I would fill in the survey and show you all how to add survey data to the map viewer. You could also try to enter response yourself. I will talk about how to check the survey data. So I just submitted the response, right? So how do I check the survey data after I collected the survey? So you could go back to the survey 123 page. You see that there's a data tab. So you could look at the data from the attribute table, or you could go to analysis. So yeah, you could also look at the analysis of the data just collected. So you could check the data like this. And now I'm going to show you how to add survey data to map viewer. So up to this step, any questions on survey 123? Any questions? Any questions to here? Maybe I will talk a little bit more about Survey 123 first before I show you how to add Survey 123 data to MapViewer. So that's a collaborate tab. So it controls the sharing level. It controls the sharing level of the survey. So you see that you could see the survey link here, and then the point I want to emphasize here is that you could control who can submit to this survey. Just now we didn't uh, uh, just now the sharing level is only owner, so only yourself could enter response. So share to everyone, so everyone with the survey URL could enter survey response. And hang on a second. Yeah, so if you want to allow everyone to submit the survey, then you make sure you select everyone public. This is the collaboration level that I want to emphasize, because otherwise if you set the wrong sharing level, then maybe other people cannot submit survey response. So this is the thing I want to emphasize. Yep, so okay, now I'm gonna show you how to add survey data to map viewer. You do not need to follow me for this step. You can just look at what I demonstrate. You do not need to follow my steps, because this won't affect anything. I just want to show you how to how to add survey data to survey 123. So just now we have our survey data collected, right? To add the survey data, you could go to add, browse, layers, my content. Then you could see that these are the survey, like the layers related to my survey. So I would add this one. Let me turn off other layers. You do not need to follow me for this step. I just want to show you how to add the layer. So what I did just now, I go to my content and then add this layer. So this is the survey layer I just added. Like, yeah, I collected. So this is to show you how to add the survey layer. Yeah, okay, so we are done. I'm gonna remove this layer because we won't use this. Okay, so I just showed you how to add the survey data to MapViewer. So now everyone, you can follow my steps again. Okay, so we will add another layer. So add, browse layers. And then we go to ArcGIS Online. And then we search for temporary shelters. Let's see if you can. Let's see if you can search for the layers. Yeah, you search for temporary shelters and urban hostel for single persons in Hong Kong. Then you add the layer to the map. After you add the layer, then I turn off the visibility of other layers for easier visualization. So then we will run our next analysis. So we go to analysis. We make sure you're selecting the correct layer. So make sure you are selecting the temporary shelter layer. And then we will want to because I will want to ensure convenience and easy access during flooding evacuation. So we will want to generate a 15 minutes walking time area at the temporary shelters and short-term hostels. So we will go to analysis. This time we will go to use proximity, and then generate travel areas. This time we will select the temporary shelters and hostels layers as the input layer. Okay, and afterwards we travel mode because I just said that we would like to generate 15 minutes walking walking time area. So we will change it to walking time. Cut off is 15 and the minutes. Walking time, enter 15 as a cutoff. Make sure the unit is minute. It should be default as minute, but just to make sure. And then away from input location, overlap policy, we change it to dissolve. We change the overlapping policy to dissolve. After that, you could give the analysis result layer name. So now we have generated the travel area, the 15 minutes travel area. So we have created the travel area, and then I think we will add the last layer. So we will add the floating black spot travel area. So this is similar as what the analysis we did just now, but this is the 15 minutes walking distance at the floating black spot. So I have manually do the analysis for you, so you don't have to do the analysis. You just need to add the layer. So add and then go to ArcGIS Online, and then you search for floating black spots travel area in Hong Kong. Hang on a second. So then you add the layer. So this is just a 15 minutes, the areas within 15 minutes walk away from the floating black spots. So we will run our last analysis on map viewer. Then we will do a 3D analysis, and then lastly the story maps. So if you have add the layer, then we will move on to the last analysis on map viewer. So again, you go to analysis, you could go to the back button. Then we go to scroll down to the bottom, go to manage data. And then we go to overlay layers. So for the input layer, we choose the appropriate shelter buffer. For the overlay layer, we choose the floating black spot travel area in Hong Kong. And then we scroll down. Intersect as the overlay type, it should be the default overlay type. And then you could give the output, type the output name. So this is the final analysis result. We save our map. So any questions to the step? So this after running the analysis, this should be the analysis result for your final analysis. Okay, so any questions to the step? For me, is the count of features is only one, but for you, I have 4 features. Okay, so we will move on to 3D visualization, and then lastly, we will do the story maps. So for the next step, I will show you how to make the 3D scene. But before that, make sure you save your map. Okay. So for 3D visualization, we will go to the icon at the 9 dots button. Then we go to scene viewer. Scene viewer. So we will show you how to do the 3D visualization. So we choose new scene, and you could click expand if you are not familiar with the button yet. And then we choose a base map. So we go to the right base map. And then we choose the topographic 3D as the base map. Okay. Then we add the layer that we have made. We could go to add layer, browse layers, and then add the floating black spot buffer your name. Yeah, this one, the floating black spot buffer your name, your date layer. After you add the layer, you could click the back button. Then we will configure the layer style. So you could go to, after you add the floating black spot buffer underscore your name underscore dates layer, you could go to the options button, options, and the layer style. So options, layer styles. Then we choose, for the drawing style, we choose 3D extrusion. 3D extrusion. Then we could click the options to change the color because it's, we would like to see what happens if the, like to demo a flooding situation. So we could change the color. You could enter the color code that is written on the PDF, or you can just choose a shade of blue that you want. And then for the field transparency, you choose, you type 45%. So for the height, we change it to 5 meters, just to demo what happens if uh, there's flooding. Okay, and then we could go to the right hand side, daylight or weather button. Right hand side, daylight or weather button. Then you could go to weather. Oh, let me zoom to a little bit. So we could choose the precipitation, cloud cover to demo for visualization. To demo flooding situation and rainfall. So just a short demo for the scene viewer. You could save your scene after you have finished. So any questions regarding scene viewer demonstration? If no, then we will move on to the last session, which is showing you guys how to make the story map. If no questions, then uh, I will go to story maps. So you can go to home button if you save your scene viewer. And then again, we go to the button with the 9 dots and then go to story maps. So the 9 dots button, then we scroll. We don't need to scroll. Just click story maps. Then you can click create story and then start from scratch. Now you can open the notepad for your convenience, just so you don't need to type all the words. You can just copy and paste. So we will give the story a title first, which is the evacuation of flooding capacities and saltwater facilities in Hong Kong. You can just copy and paste from your notepad. So this is the story title. After you paste the title, then we can go ahead and add the cover image. We can go to the right hand side, add cover image or video, and then browse to the files to add the cover image. Then we can go to the design button. If you guys have finished, have you guys finished? If you cannot add the image, maybe check if you haven't zipped your folder. Okay. So we go to the design button. Then we turn on the navigation toggle on, and then yeah, you could play around with the cover, but I think let's see which one looks best. I think I would just go with the minimal design cover for now, just for now. And obviously you could change the theme, but I'm not gonna change it now. Yeah, we'll continue. So we will add some tests on the story maps. So scroll down a bit, you see the add button. You see the add button, then you click test. Then you go to your notepad. And then introduction, you could copy and paste. And then test, and then just paste the introduction. And then you could also just copy and paste the introduction and then add test and then just paste the whole introduction part here. So I want to show you how to because sometimes you want to quickly navigate to some of the sessions. So I want to show you how to do that. Just now you in the design session, you have turned on the navigation. So this here is the navigation link. So you could highlight introduction and then change from paragraph to heading 1. Now you can see that the introduction has been added to the navigation links. After that, we can add test again. Now you paste the methodology. I also want this to be the methodology session to be at the navigation link. So again, you highlight the methodology test and then you change it to heading 1. You can see that it's it shows in the navigation links. Ooh, then embed the survey to the story map. So go back to the survey 1, 2, 3 you created. Then remember the share icon. You can copy the URL. Go back to the survey 123, and then there's a share icon. Copy the survey link. Afterwards, we go back to StoryMaps. Then you click the add button, add content block button. And then we go to media and then embed. Media and then embed. Then now you can paste the survey link. Of course, you can configure how the survey to be displayed. You can display as a card. Yeah, you can do some configuration just for your information, but I'm not gonna do any configuration now. So now you have embedded the survey to your story maps. Afterwards, we'll again add tests and add another session that is called maps. We again want the map session to be shown in the navigation links. So highlight the maps test and then change from media to heading 1. We could now add the maps that we have made previously. So now again, click the add content block. Click sidecar. Scroll down to immersive and then click sidecar. We will choose floating for the sidecar layout and then save. Then we can add our map. So go to add and then map. And then go to the map you have created. So for this layer, we would like to turn on facilities near flooding black sport. And then the Hong Kong flooding, let me just turn off all the layers and then show you what layers to turn on. So the first layer we would like to turn on is the facilities near the flooding black spot layer. And then we would like to turn on the Hong Kong flooding black spots layer. Also the facilities near Drainage Services Department in Hong Kong and then the 18th district. You could configure the zoom in, zoom out extent to show on the map. Maybe like this. So afterwards, then you can go to the options section. You can enable the legend and then keep the legend open. You can then save the map after you have finished. So I'm going to save this. I'm going to duplicate this map. You can then give this a title. So for this map, I'm going to name it as existing DSD facilities in Hong Kong. You can copy and paste from your notepad. So for the panel appearance, I'm going to make it right aligned. So just now you have duplicated the map, duplicate, right? So we are going to make the second map, the second one. So we will edit the map for the second, we'll edit the second map. And then for this one, I only want to show the final analysis results. So we can turn off all the layers, but then turn on only the final analysis layer. And then I don't think we need the legend, so we can turn off the legend this time. Just adjust the map and then you can save it. And then this time we change the name to best flooding evacuation location. Just copy and paste from your notepad. Lastly, we will add the video link, then we are done with StoryMap. So lastly, we go to the add button. Then we'll go to video. And then you go to your notepad. There should be a YouTube link in the notepad. And then just copy and paste. Oh, you instead of choosing upload, you go to a link. And then you paste the YouTube link and then add it. So for now, we have finished making the story maps. However, please note that we haven't yet published the story map. So if you haven't published the story map, this is only a draft. So we need to publish the story map if you have finished. And then note the sharing level. If you're sharing the story maps for competition, I think you may want to set the sharing level to everyone public. Otherwise, there may be issue. Other people may not be able to access your story map if you choose another sharing level. So after you check the sharing level, then you can publish the story map. So there will be some warning because that's because for the map we made, the sharing level is only set to owner, which is private, so other people cannot access. But this story map, the sharing level is set to public, so that's why there is a warning. So you can just click yes and share the items. So now you can see that after you have published then the story map, then you can get the story map links or like the QR code, and you can also view the published story. So this is the story map that we made. So before we end, let me just emphasize one more thing. So to check the sharing level of your items, you can go to content. So if you go to content, then you should be able to see the layers or the maps, the scene that you have made and saved, and you can check the sharing level here. So this is for your reference to if you have created some items and want to check the items or you like to check the sharing levels, then you can make use of the contents tab. So is there any questions regarding today's hands-on session?
Hi, this is Joy again, and thank you, Jenny, for providing the hands-on session. And may I now ask, before we end this session, is there any questions? You can type it in the chat box or you can raise your hands. So if there are no further questions, we will announce the Esri Young Scholar Award 2025 briefing come hands-on session to an end. And for today's presentation slides and also recording and materials, we will email to you later. And please be reminded to fill in the YSA enrollment form. In order we can receive your application, and we will provide you an ArcGIS account to create your own story map to participate in this YSA 2025. Please do not use your own institution ArcGIS account to create story map for this submission. And please be reminded the deadline for submission this year is 16th of March, and late submission will not be admitted. So thank you very much, and hope to see your exciting story map very soon. Bye-bye.